Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Teach Me How to Wrexham. We have a great one today, a wonderful interview. We have the Scott, not less ton, but more ton, here with us today, joining a board member of the WST. Of course, SJ, the Sarah, to the Jane is here. And of course, I am Ran. For you all that haven't seen this before, haven't tuned in to Teach Me How to Wrexham, what we do is take that international, that newcomer's eyes approach to Wrexham, to the EFL, and try to break down some of the questions that newer fans or old fans might have, but might have too much pride to ask those in a public forum. We have no humility, so we will ask those for everybody. So, like always, feel free to DM us, write us, and send us in the questions that you don't want to look like a fool, because I have no problem doing it. Well, without further ado, let's get into the whole reason why we're here. Up the WST, up the Scott Morton town. Scott, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's kind of jumper weather for indoors, but other than
Ooh,
that,
yeah.
everything's fine. Need to
And
believe.
people, oh yeah, there you go. Well, and people might know Scott from previous episodes of Teach Me How to Wrexham, where his prodigy offspring guessed some of the largest numbers of Wrexham scores and accurately. So we do have to say we are in fine air of the heir of Scott Morton, which is what, like, soothsayer, genie, tarot card reader. Like, Georgina is just nailed some absolutely wonderful predictions. Again, you guys might know him already, but Scott, in your own words, who is Scott Morton?
I'm a Wrexham born. I'm on the board of the Supporters Trust at the moment. Obviously, it's the usual thing. I've supported Wrexham all my life through family curse. It has been, or I felt like, for quite a number of
Yeah,
years. Obviously now it's very different, and it's just it's a pleasurable experience, sort of following the Reds and up and down the scene, seeing how it's going at the moment.
yeah, yeah. What a time to have gone through everything, and then to be now, and then in the position, the Wrexham, the WST, the Wrexham Supporters Trust. How did you initially get involved with it?
Like a number of people, it was at the time when the club was going through some pretty tough times with dodgy owners, etc. And it's just a way of galvanising the fans, bringing them all together. I was more of I was never on the board at all. At that point, I mean, gosh, it was a long time ago now, it seems. Like, it was nearly 20 years. So it was a case of just subscribing to the trust and trying to raise money, essentially, to help the club out. The trust was run, obviously, by volunteers, and they were basically helping the club pay wages and the likes. So then it carried on, and I think the aim became apparent we just needed to take over control of the club from people who were essentially, let's just say it, they were asset stripping.
Yeah,
Their aims essentially were to sell land, etc. If we were lucky, we might build us a little, I don't know, a Lego stadium somewhere, much the same as a rival down the road. So that was it really. Some people worked, really hard, because I'm on the board now, but in fairness, it's not the level of work that was required in those early days. I don't know how they did it with the amount of organisation. So my time then, I was just a fan, I was a member of it, and you sell stuff on stores, maybe merchandise, that kind of thing, just reasonably, doing whatever. So that's my journey through it. And to the point I think we needed members on the board.
What is the Wrexham Supporters Trust?
It's almost like a business in itself, so you've got a lot of rules you have to follow by and you have to abide by. So you have to have so many people on the board for it to be what they call quorate, I believe. I don't know what that word means. I should have looked it up. But
Yeah.
that's how many they needed on the board anyway. So they needed a couple more people to just stand up. So I essentially joined thinking I won't have much to do really. So to keep it going, but I feel there's a place for the trust, and maybe we're obviously never going to run the club again. I thought unless they sell. I think that was one of the questions asked actually when they were giving their proposals, their mission statement. One of the questions posed was, "Do we get first refusal if you decide to do it?" So I think they said yes. Don't quote me on that. But I'm not sure we'll be able to raise the funds because I think by the time they come, or if they do, I don't think they'll be able to afford it. Unless it
Yeah.
goes
Yeah.
to the National League North, then they might be able to.
Yeah. It's not the future you want to foretell. Is yeah.
No, I mean, they do. They
The trust is like not just a like fan supporters group, right? Like they're a legal entity, and doesn't the trust part of that? I think that my impression at first was that the trust means like, we entrust the running of the club to this entity, but isn't it actually like a financial because of the money that was raised initially to help save the club? Isn't the trust like actually legally a like financial entity
Yeah.
and the board?
Yeah. It is. I mean, it's a proper business. So it's much like we have trusts over here. So famously, the National Trust, similar sort of thing, really. So we have to have a business plan, if you like, certain mission statements, etc. We have to follow procedure. Certainly, we have to have an AGM. We have to have regular board meetings. They have to be minuted. We have to disclose that information to the members. So basically, I think we've got about 900 members now. Obviously, that's reduced from the bad days. I'm going to refer to them as the bad days. And the bad days, I mean, those figures are a lot higher actually. So, but naturally, I mean, it was expected that those numbers would drop off after the sale because it's like I thought it myself. I think, what's the point of the trust after that? Because we didn't necessarily have anything. But I think it is important to understand the trust does have obviously has the lease, still has it, although we voted to surrender the lease, but that's sort of it's one of Rob McCanny's bugbears, isn't it? The bureaucracy and everything over
Yeah.
So lots of things have to be signed off, but essentially we have surrendered the lease. It's just not signed off yet by all parties. We signed it off. We're not holding anything up really. But I think in defence of why it hasn't been signed off, I believe it's because of the ongoing plans for the car being slightly different. So legally, I think we agreed to surrender the lease under certain conditions, and those conditions were something called King's Council, which offers it offers the same protection that the lease had for us. Because essentially, I should step back a bit. The lease, we had the lease from the university. This is the trust. The trust has the lease from the university. Then, in the initial sale, Rob and Ryan agrees to sublease it from us. So that would mean they were committed to the ground and they couldn't move. So that was our way of protecting the location and the future of the club.
Smart.
Which is important to the fans and so Hornsby as well. But then they bought the freehold from the university. So you have this very strange dynamic where they were paying us the sublease, and then we were paying them the lease. So it's a bit of a circular thing going on with this money. It's just
That had to have been a pain for not just like, the feeling of it, but like financially, that's, you can't just be like, oh, we're good, right? Like financially, that physical money or digital money has to like go transfer from bank account to bank account, right?
yeah. You have obligations with lease as well, much the same as if you rented a house. You probably contractually obliged to look after the house. So those kind of things come in with the lease as well. There's only certain things you can do. It's actually quite. I was surprised how complicated it was. The wordings in the lease are quite important. So when we subleased it, there was things like you can only use the grounds for sport and the community. However, it had to be reworded because obviously they need to sell burgers and pies and chips.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's not a sport. So there's so much to consider when you put these things together. So, and obviously surrendering the lease, we then lose that protection of what we see as protection to the location. So that's where the King's Council thing came in, which is just legal term for a contract, essentially. This contract will go on. So the trust now looks after that contract. So we have an ongoing fee where we pay. Put it simply, it's a document that's in the safe. We have to pay for that safe. So that's one of the ongoing costs that we would still have with regards to the trust going forward. If the trust didn't exist, there are safeguards for that, but we would rather sort of carry on. We think we've got a future, and I think we can do good now, but in a different way. So it would be more community driven, but still with that link to the club. Even though essentially we can't tell the club what to do, but we can certainly maintain that contact and air grievances or support. More importantly, support them. Because we support them going forward. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. But we're in a process. We had quite a good meeting actually. The last meeting, the board was almost like but kind of rebranding ourselves.
Okay.
Changing the mission statement, if you like, which I don't have written down, unfortunately. I'll put a little one to how we work. It's unexpected. But the mission statement really is around helping the club and the community. I mean, it's an interesting thing, but with the members, obviously there's a lot of local members, if you like, and there's yourselves as international supporters. And the numbers are quite striking. I think it's touching 150 international supporters.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
I know Brian, who deals with all of the memberships for Racecourse, he's got his own spreadsheet, and with the numbers and the countries. And there's one that kind of sticks out. We got a member in Mongolia.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's quite random. I think
Wow.
Mongolia, Iran, then obviously America, obviously, both the USA and Canada and Australia. So there's just loads all over the show. So there's kind of, obviously there's a lot of people who you might call them expats and say, in the likes of Singapore, United Arab Emirates. Obviously our friends in Norway as well. So that side of it's kind of it's good. It's cool, but that led to the need for to sort of expand what we're doing to enable those folks internationally, maybe a line of communication to the club when they need it. And obviously, we have those meetings with the club. I think, I don't know if you're aware, but the EFL, the English Football League, are they make it so that clubs have to engage with fans and they have to have quarterly meetings. So it's at these meetings that you can present your agenda items, if you like. So we take that, typically something we need to improve, but we've got an IT guy now, James, who's got a lot of work on to sort of update stuff, and he's pretty cool, so he's pretty clued up and he's got a lot of experience, so hopefully we can get that better so it's easier for people to submit queries if they want something to be brought up on these CAB meetings, which is, that's the Community Advisory Board. No, is it CAB?
Community Advisory Board.
Yeah.
So the CAB,
Yeah.
right?
So so you'd have the club representatives. So we just had a meeting recently that two of our board members attended, and the club ran the meeting, rightly or wrongly, but I don't know. To be fair, I'm not sure how it's feasibly possible for one or the other people around the table. There was some discussion with the EFL about that. But there would be other support groups, so Wrexham Reds, Shropshire Reds, London Reds. You know, these have people on that board. But we obviously saw that there's a gap for international fans. So we were sort of in the interim, we were thinking perhaps we could help out in that respect to get your views over to the club, because I mean, it's pretty obvious with social media the issues that are being that have occurred. So it's like they're taking your money and not delivering goods, if you like.
Yeah.
I got a card this year. That was I think something that if I remember right, the trust last year brought up to the CAB meeting, which was like, what are the international fans actually getting? You're paying for a membership but not getting anything. It's cool that the trust are invested in bringing like fan support concerns, I guess, or questions to the CAB, even though, you know, the international members, it sounds like there's more now, but maybe weren't represented in the trust as much then.
Yeah, and like going back to what you're saying about it being a business and the legal obligations you have, we are obliged to represent our members. And was it about 900 members with 115, so that's more than 10% of our membership. So it's a big portion. It would be wrong of us to just pass it by and ignore them. Because that's what we are. That's what the trust is. It's there to help. So that's what we hope to be doing going forward. And that will all be hopefully next year. They'll probably kill me. Certainly James, the IT guy, will. Early next year.
Yeah. Which day specifically, if you can lock that in?
1st of January, why not?
Yeah.
We'll have it all. So we're hoping to do we got like little ideas. And, you know, obviously we do the membership cards, and the letters going out and things. And we're thinking maybe pin badges, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
That'd be cool.
But there are lots of things we used to do when we had the club that seems difficult for us to do now, such as I can't remember like Nando's would give you 10% off if you had a season ticket.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
we can't do that now because obviously we don't have the clubs, we don't have that kind of bargaining power, if you like, with
Oh, okay.
to do those kind of things. We were hoping maybe we could do that, but still thinking on that. It's all part of the rebranding, trying to get people on board who maybe haven't really got experience in that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I'm certainly not a salesman, or but when the more members you have, the more skills you have.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
for instance, the King's Council that we got was we had a lawyer. His top lawyer dealt with. I think that Chelsea did something with their pitch, so that Chelsea would have to stay there. I think it was like a square. People bought squares of the pitch.
I think that it was that they like the center circle where it kicks off.
Yeah.
If I remember right, it's that they bought the center circle, or they have like some kind of financial lease commitment to the center circle where the ball kicks off, so that that in order to sell the ground or whatever, or to move, like they have to negotiate because they have that tiny like 0.001% stake in the club.
That's probably worth quite a lot in real estate in Chelsea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Set up an apartment.
That reminds me of the lordship that I bought to become a lord, the inch by inch plot that I got scammed out of. Yeah.
Bought a star in the sky.
My dad bought a star, I think. So there's a star somewhere there called Angela. It's one of those birthday presents.
Yeah, just point
to
the sky. It's there.
Yeah.
There's enough to choose from. Yeah.
But anyway, that lawyer was saying he was a member of the trust, and he always has been. He was a season ticket holder and fan, but he just so happened to be a top lawyer down in London.
Yeah.
So obviously he worked hard for us and got that through, certainly with the lease. And I mean, it went on for quite a long time. It's still going on in theory. But the work that they put in was quite lengthy, and it would have cost us a fortune.
Yeah.
Luckily, he was a fan, so he kind of just did it with the blessing of his whatever the firm is he worked on.
Yeah, that's good for the club to have that.
If you get all sorts of skill sets.
Yeah.
900 people is going to be some quite skillful people in there, professionals and all sorts.
That's actually one thing I did want to ask. So, you touched on like the kind of prior members of how the transition and what the club or the Supporters Trust used to do to help the club. But if somebody wants to, is considering being a trust member, like what are the needs that the trust has, and why do the trust need people? And it sounds like it's not just to contribute financially, but the trust can utilize like real life skills and occupation traits that people might be able to donate or contribute their experience with in helping the trust do their outreach and their goals.
I suppose it's like a hive mind. Many minds can solve many problems, but also it's ideas that people can put forward, and these ideas can be personal to them. I mean, we'll be working mainly sort of community-based projects. So miners rescue projects, for example, that donated to. More recently, the Wrexham Food Bank. But again, that was the Wrexham Food Bank. When you think about it, I mean, there's the guy from New York, I think, Jay.
Yeah, New York. Yeah.
And I mean, he's an inspiration really, because he's done so much. and he's a member of the trust actually. So we're quite proud of the stuff he's done, and we're able to contribute to something he obviously feels quite strongly about. And I mean, it's food banks shouldn't exist, should they really?
Right.
So there's how do we solve that problem, really? But in the interim, we do need that help. So we'd like to think we can help people in their sort of situations. So with GA, we only contributed the money really, but there could be other instances where if you needed something to do, we then have a whole army here that can potentially go out and do the legwork, if you like, for all stuff. Also, if you're in the trust, we're the largest member. Well, we're the biggest supporters group. Therefore, we get 2 people on this CAB meeting. So we've got quite a. I suppose it's kind of influenced in a way. We've got kind of a big voice on that meeting. So all the gripes, all the agenda points that people want to put through, because legally we can only represent our members. So whilst we could take a question on Twitter or whatever that might be, we could only put it to that CAB meeting if that person was a member.
Okay.
So I suppose that would be one of the things that would sort of benefit you if you joined. And it's the community side of it, really. You'd be part of that thing. You could say, I used to own a football club. It's good work, is it? It's something that you can be involved in good things, hopefully, going forward. But also, I think you would have to say on those CAB meetings, because I knew that once they got that freehold, then we get a lot of communication with these subjects. So, I mean, it's quite a substantial amount of money at the time, because we needed the members more financially when we ran the club for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So that money helped. But then with the lease, that was £100,000 a year. So it's not an insignificant amount of money. So
Yeah.
but then obviously we surrounded that now, so we're not so reliant on that money. It's not a life or death thing where we tend to be dissolved and the like. So it's more, as I said now, I think we're going more for sort of the community aspect of it, and trying to influence the club if we feel they're going off track. So, I mean, when they had the sponsor, didn't they? They've had pretty good sponsors, fairness. So, I mean, people could say what they want about TikTok, and again, that's like I know there's a bit of gripe about that, but they had, I think there was an oil firm, wasn't there? Sort of fossil fuel type. That there was a bit of a kickback on that one, if I remember, and then that sponsorship through the people. But I think they then said, perhaps that's a bad idea. Didn't do it. So I think that will be part of the trust's responsibility, would be to echo those things if things don't fit in with what the town is or what people are. So they have difficult decisions to make.
I seem to remember there being information out there that, so the conversation has been, should we change the badge, right? Should the club change the badge? But isn't there a financial responsibility, or maybe not financial, but like a legal responsibility the club have to pitch that to members of, is it the supporters trust that has like a legal responsibility to protect the badge and approve it if there's changes?
I think with badge, when we sold the club to them for the peppercorn and the 2 million non-returnable shares that rolled it into the club, then we had a whole list of things in that contract of sale. So part of those was that they did have to communicate with us if they were changing the badge, and they agreed to sign to. So that would be something we would certainly, we would notice. I think they did. They released something with regards to their engagement policy, and I think they worded it. In fairness, I think it was they kind of rushed the document to give it to the EFL, and then they are now currently in conversation with the EFL to sort those little errors out, if you like. But that was picked up by us, and we did sort of all waved our hand and said, please sir, I think the document's wrong. So yeah, there's those things are why we still currently have to exist. We still need people on the board who are aware of those things. So that is yeah.
One of the things that a lot of people that maybe didn't see what the WST Wrexham Supporters Trust was outside of the documentary from the transfer, a lot of them would have thought that same similar thing of, well, what are they doing now? Since then, there's some current projects that are going on right now that the Supporters Trust has a hand in. Is that correct? Like some of the experience or fan zone or those things?
Yeah, that was more with the cap leases and getting those points across to them with regards to those. I mean, the two guys that went did a little report, and I think with the fan zone, I think the club gave the answer that they marketed it. That's quite hard to say. Marketed it incorrectly. They should have called it a fan zone. Are you satisfied with that answer? It doesn't really resolve the issue.
No problem. I'll throw another grievance out there outside of the fan zone being marketed or the name sounding, the experience sounding off. One of the things that you know about that us international fans air repeatedly is not being able to watch the replays of the women's matches. And that is like a thing that without the WST for us to say, hey, here's some of our grievances, like how would we even approach the club and say, we want to watch the replays of the women's match? Like, how does that even happen?
Because they're not good at returning emails.
Yeah, that was one of the things that was brought up actually, was the communication. So, they've admitted themselves that it's something they really need to. They just need to get better at more timely with it. Really. So obviously you don't get replies. That's not good enough. But they are aware of that. So it was Michael Williamson,
Okay.
and Fiker. They had 4 people there, and the 2 guys from this new architect who was doing the comp. And then you had all the scrolls groups around the table. So the communication thing was pretty much from every single group had that as kind of on the top of that list. So they're looking to employ people now to actually do that.
Yeah.
But as you said, I mean, otherwise, I mean, I don't know how you just trying to communicate with them. So,
Yeah. Not the best, because
it's a staffing thing, to be fair.
yeah, SJ went through that when she had the brilliant idea and then gathered a gang of folks to sponsor Rosie Hughes away kit for last season, and yeah, that was a fun experience of trying to contact the club and then get back and then hoping that you could resolve it while you still could sponsor a player within the season,
Yeah,
it still being on. That was a good one to, I guess, an example of the communication, which hopefully going forward, if Humphrey, if you happen to magically be watching right now, we want the more women's coverage. We want to be able to watch the replays. We want it with the commentary connected
I
to
know.
it. And we also, if we want international fans or any fans for that regard to sponsor players, sponsor kits and things for the men or the women, it would be nice to have like a good communication. So those are the grievances that hopefully the WST and then if anybody's watching here, get them done. Get them
yeah.
done.
I know. I
Well,
know.
it was
I will.
interesting. The iFollow one was interesting because it's not something we as locals, if you like, were particularly aware of.
Mm,
It's not something that was thought of. So, because that was brought up by an international fan, not naming names, and, it was quite interesting because none of us just never crossed our minds that would be a thing. But it's pretty obvious when you think about it. I think it's a reasonable thing to be able to watch the replay of the match
yeah,
with commentary. Quite good.
it's tough sledding
Yeah,
when you do it. It's because without the commentary, the microphones aren't placed in an area, or the volume of the action isn't placed in an area that you can be more engaged. It's a little bit muted and subdued of like background noise, like you're in a coffee shop or something. And so even when there's action on the field, you can see people shouting, but you really can't hear them. So the
Yeah.
engagement of watching a replay without the commentary, it's a little bit rough. Like yes, you can see the action, but it's not like the same experience of being able
Yeah.
to have that response in the auditory cues.
but no, it's like you might as well watch the clips on that somebody's done on
Yeah.
a mobile phone.
Yep.
Yeah. And the thing is too though that like the highlights still have commentary, but then the replays don't. Then they don't have the clock for like the time of how far into the match you are or the score line. So
Yeah.
if you like, yeah, so I watched one and then I watched like part of it and I was like, okay, this was a couple weeks ago. I kind of remember the match. So I watched, but then I got before exactly halftime, I got pulled away and I was like, okay, well I'll go back and watch it. And I'm like, okay, I don't really remember where I'm at. And also I can't remember if we scored yet or not. So like there's no context to kind of be able to go back and as somebody who's learning the game still, I like to go back for my like when I watch a match live, I'm like passion and yelling and figuring it out. But then I rewatch a match, I can go, oh, because I'm struggling to learn positions, and so I'm like, this whole, I was like, okay, 3-5-2. I've got that kind of like situation, and then I'm like, wait, there's only one striker up front. How does that make sense? So trying to go back to figure that out, and then having no commentary, and then going, wait, did they sub somebody in yet? I don't remember, and there's no time on the clock. Yeah.
Well, it's the Christmas tree formation season coming up,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
you'll be able to have
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. The I guess like one of the things that as an international member and keying into is when SJ was saying like what else, what does the international member get from it? I think the cards were absolutely amazing because getting that in through the mail, like if it's tangible, it feels real, physically something in your hand, and as a international member, it's like the more that you can have in your hand. We will, as a podcast, we will offer for WST members, we're offering you a 50% off This is officially from the pod. 50% off of SJ's free stickers that she will send to you. So they are half off of free for any WST members. Just get in contact with SJ.
And you brought up the sticker, so I gotta show this one off. I just made a new one. I got it in. It's in Parky We Trust, and I got some gold on it there.
Gold.
Yeah. So I'm getting fancier. So not only are you getting half off of free, you're getting half off of fancier free.
Wow.
They're good. They look like the Panini stickers, the sticker album. And you'd have football players, you collect all the teams and stuff. And
you should do that, yeah.
You get the shiny sticker as a result, because that was the club badge, which was like what Sarah SJ just showed there with the shiny stickers.
Yeah.
She got don't you have a holographic one or something, or that was an option to do?
Yeah, so I got the gold badge. And then there's a holographic one coming in, which is basically just a fancy way of saying that it's a shinier little rainbow on it.
Oh, I was hoping this way it looks like Lee's about to score. That way it looks like Lee's just scored.
Yeah. One yeah.
Well, and to ask some more on the WST, so international members, if they wanted to join up, or anybody for that matter, join the Wrexham Supporters Trust, where would they go? Who would they contact? What would they do?
The website's still functioning with regards to those things, so it's wst.org.uk.
SJ will put that.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll have the link
up here.
and the link in the description too. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that you just I think there's a join button, so you press that, and then which I think is probably the best way to do it. And Brian will then process it. He normally gets things out within a week.
Nice.
So the letter and the card. Hopefully next year in batches as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. When you sign up as a member, is it an annual or lifetime?
It's an annual fee. I think it's £15 now. So it used to be 12, but it's kind of a voluntary thing. So I know back in the day when we were fighting the fight, people would pay. There's either you pay the minimum or you can pay whatever you want. But we're not kind of actively begging people to join, if you know what I mean.
Right.
It's a voluntary thing. So if you see your worth in it for yourselves, then everyone's welcome, essentially. But as I said, I'm not a salesman.
Yeah. Tell us the free thing you get if you sign up for the monthly membership. You get a half and half scarf.
You get a card. That's the free thing you get is the actual membership card. And so we got the little sleeve for the membership for the club. So it has a top and a bottom. So you put your club membership here, and then you can put your Wrexham Supporters Trust there on the other one. So you do get stuff. Credentials.
The biggest argument for us normally is what photo do we put on the card next year?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it was a tough one. It's weird because we can't put the club badge on. Since when was it? I think it's before. Well, no, it's 2025. It'll be 4 years in February since we sold it. So that time just seems to have flown, to be fair.
Wow.
So
pictures of the city or the town, and also the stadium, Sands logo, maybe silhouettes, sunset silhouettes. There was a cool. Somebody got that lightning strike during the storm. There was
Oh
like lightning in the
yeah.
background. That was pretty
That's,
cool too.
yeah.
Is it something we can vote on? Is that a thing that it's like, okay, what's the next membership photo? Here's.
Well, hopefully,
That'd be fun.
if we improve our engagement via social media, etc., all those kind of things, those kind of things will come up naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, we're playing about with it, and seeing what we can do. But those engagements will be easy. But as I said, it's to contact us through there and ask us to do things. You need to be a member. But I mean, that's not to say that any good ideas you can take them on, things like that. But if you want to directly contact the club on your behalf, then we can't do that. The legals, just get a member to ask the question for
Yeah. Yeah. Does the King's Castle jurisdiction cover online? you know.
the future.
Yeah. You can super chat.
Yeah.
You can pay up your messages or your questions in there. Well, looking at the future of the Supporters Trust, what are some things that we might be looking at going forward, either within the year or 5 years or whenever?
I think within the year, we're obviously waiting for the lease to be signed off to surrender. And going back to the legal side of everything, we can't just surrender it for nothing. You have to sell it. And I think, within our rights to surrender. So with that money, that will be quite a windfall, if you like. So that will be when we will have to then go to the members with suggestions of what to do with that. We'll suggest things. And I don't think it's a secret. We want to support the Mines Rescue Project. There are a number of things, community initiatives that we would like to support in that respect financially, but again, going back to the legality of everything, it's not a case of just handing money over. It would have to be approved by the members. And the members were all obviously at that point, I think we'd be in a position where we'd be asking members for ideas for what they want to do, suggestions, things that they can put forward, and then we would all vote on that then. So then then it's processing. So there's a lot of paperwork involved in that, so we can't just give money away. So well, it's large amounts anyway, without research, if you like. So we would survey whichever potential recipient would want to do. So we would need a plan. We would need to see that it, obviously we feel, be convinced that this is what we're using for, and this is how it will be used, how it will be done. And this is what we expect the end results. You giving us 10,000 will lead to, I don't know, a race.
Yeah.
Something. So they have to kind of prove it. So, because otherwise, that windfall would very quickly just disappear. So it's managing. So I think it's £187,000 we're hoping to receive at some point in the future. This finally gets signed off. So that can make a big impact on a lot of things.
In that £187,000 is like a huge number. That you had mentioned there was members that had left the trust when the takeover happened, but when we talk about the trust being a financial entity, like a legal entity, my understanding is people who in the past had bought like buying a share into the trust to help support the club, that they can request a refund of those large shares, and that's separate from like the yearly fee that you would pay as a trust member, right?
Yeah, it was. It was basically an initiative to raise money. So we now, because we don't have the club, we're giving, returning that money pretty kindly, sort of loaned us, if you like. And I think we've returned the majority of it.
Okay.
I can't remember the figures, but I mean, it's a substantial amount, and there's still some people who haven't come forward to get their money back, if you like. And we kind of really do urge people to, if they can, contact us. The guy who's dealing with that has, I'll pass on his email to yourself
Yeah.
so you put it in the descriptions. But that's Brian, busy membership card.
Yeah.
Brian. So if if you did have one of those shares, please get in touch with Brian, because we really do want to get it's kind of like a monkey on your back, because it's this money that's there that's not really ours, and we don't I'm trying to put it nicely. I was going to say we don't have any use for it anymore. Sounds a bit harsh, but that's not intentional. It's just we really do want these people to get their money's gone. And unfortunately, as with life, there are people who are no longer with us, and we couldn't get very quite complicated, but we have managed to give money back to families whose relatives have passed, and luckily there's been quite a few occurrences, but that does happen, and we appreciate that. So we may have money from somebody and no one's aware of it, so it will always be there. I'm not sure what the policy is with that, to be honest. I don't know what to do. Morally, it seems a conundrum, isn't it? But there are people, I'm sure, who've moved. They probably had a Yahoo email address. And went to Gmail.
AOL. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not they wouldn't have AOL, but yeah.
So there's reasons, I'm sure. But if anyone hears this, they might say, "Oh yeah, so then just email Brian, the Supporters Trust, and he'll straight away just transfer it to the account. As long as you can prove it."
It's a positive impact, not a negative impact. Like, if you take the money back from the trust, it's one less legal obligation the trust has.
Yeah.
Versus if you're taking the money back, you're leaving the trust in a lurch because there's less
No.
money to do objectives the trust has, right?
Oh yeah, no, we're fine on that respect. That's in an account that just doesn't get touched. So it's no, we really do just want people to come forward to get that.
Yeah. And we'll put it in the description too, the contact
Yep.
to Brian, as well as the link to the website for anybody that wants to sign up and join the Wrexham Supporters Trust. We'll have that link in there. I did it through the website. SJ, I believe you did it through the website too. Quick, painless, and easy. The interface is just really user friendly. It's not hard to walk through. And then Brian was in good communication, like along the process. It's like, okay, hey, we've got it. You'll be seeing this soon. So that was cool.
No, he's good. He's on the ball, Brian.
He's good. He's good. Well, Scott, thank you so much for taking some time away from your beautiful children to spend with us over here and getting to talk about the Wrexham Supporters Trust, what's going on now, how people can get involved, and anybody that's out there that I guess has questions about the Supporters Trust. If they're thinking about joining, would Brian be the person to reach out to outside of just going to the website and signing up?
Brian or myself, I'll put my
Okay.
trust email down there as well.
Okay.
pretty easy process again. So get it through.
Yeah, so you could talk to Scott the Man,
Yeah.
as I ruin his name every single time and say not less ton, but more ton. Well, Scott, thanks so much for coming on, joining us today, and talking about such a good group that is doing a good thing and will continue to do good things in Wrexham and for the club. Any last words before we depart, SJ or Scott?
Actually, that's something I forgot to
Oh,
mention. That
yeah.
part of the thing that we were thinking was obviously with you not having the communication links, etc. But if anybody over your size of the pond, if you like, or anyone else internationally wanted to set up a group, we're more than happy, if you like, and able to
Ooh,
help with that process, because it can be a bit. Well, it's not necessarily difficult, but we would speed it up for you if you needed advice on that kind of thing.
the
But
experience.
obviously,
Yeah.
countries
So
like Australia and America are quite large, so
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
if the
it's not
Phoenix Reds wanted to become an official supporters group for, because there's like a official channel that has to be followed to be officially affiliated with the club as the supporters group. Is that something that the trust is able to help
yeah,
negotiate? Is
yeah,
that what you're talking about?
yeah, and the whole process of being a supporters group, there's just little things that you have your meetings. We could just advise on how to run it
Mm,
and get it kind of going smoothly with our experiences. So,
that's nice.
because a lot of people who are in, say, like the Gressel Reds or Shropshire Reds, they're members of the trust as well. So, these guys, Shropshire Reds especially, has been going for so long. And, they've
Yeah,
got a
and they're in
connection.
enemy territory, so it's,
Well, that's how, I think some royals were moving borders about
there you go.
Shropshire ended up in England. I'm not too sure. I worked with somebody whose his first language was Welsh,
Oh,
but
okay.
he was born in Oswestry, so he was considered English.
Oh,
But he isn't.
But it, but the lines that was Wales at one point in time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they often move. It's a political thing these days.
as it all is. Yeah.
Politics.
Well, thanks so much. Hope you have a good rest of your evening over there and tuck in the little ones nicely. Again, Scott, Wrexham Supporters Trust. If you look in the description, you can reach out to him, reach out to Brian, and obviously you guys can contact us too if you have any questions about our experience. And thank you so much. Have a great one. And like we always say every single time, up the
the
town,
town.
up the
No, thank you.
town.